Hey friends, welcome back to a new video. Today I wanted to film a really casual sit-down video and talk to you guys about gut health. Gut health really plays a big role when it comes to our overall health, and it can really influence our immune system, but also our mental health, weight and hormone balance. And just having a healthy gut is overall very beneficial and has been highly underrated. Today I'm sharing with you guys some insights of this book called Darm Scham in German. The English version is called Gut, the Inside of Our Body's Most Underrated Organ by Julia Enders. And yeah, I really highly recommend this book. I love reading it. As you can see, I've made myself some tabs and I've also highlighted a bunch in here. So there's a lot that we could talk about when surrounding gut health and our gut. But today we're going to focus on probiotics, what they do, what they are, why they're helpful or beneficial. Our gut is to 90% made up of hundreds of different types of bacteria, and there are good bacteria but also bad bacteria in our gut. Everyone has a very different combination of different bacteria called microbiome, and you could even say it's kind of like a bacteria fingerprint that everyone has, not only in our gut but also on our skin and just pretty much everywhere. The bacteria in our gut uses the food that we digest and produces nutrients that our body can then absorb. So it is a very important task that the bacteria in our gut has. So our microbiome in our gut is often painted like a garden. You want to make sure that there is a nice balance between useful, helpful plants and weeds. You want to make sure that the weeds aren't getting out of control, and you can also boost the helpful, useful plants by planting new ones. But when sometimes the weeds take over the entire garden, there's nothing else left to do but to use some type of chemicals to really erase all those weeds, but those chemicals will kill the good plants as well. This is kind of what antibiotics does. It kills the bad bacteria, but it also kills the good bacteria. So it is a good idea when you took antibiotics to then cultivate your garden with good plants again. And this is where probiotics comes in. 95% of bacteria is actually good bacteria. So it's not about killing all types of bacteria, but to establish a healthy balance between the good and the bad, so that the bad doesn't overpopulate and overthrow the good bacteria. And this is a common misconception. A lot of times we think bacteria in general are all bad, so we want to kill and eliminate all bacteria, but that is actually not necessarily the right way to approach it. So now the question would be, how do we support the good bacteria, especially in our gut, and limit the bad bacteria? So we actually know quite little about the hundreds and thousands of different types of bacteria. And those that we have deemed as 100% good, we call probiotics. And probiotics can be found in a lot of different types of foods like sauerkraut, pickles, also sourdough, some type of cheeses like Emmentaler, olives, iron, yogurt, but also soy sauce, kombucha, miso, kimchi, lassi, mostly things that are fermented. However, with the introduction of industrialization, a lot of things are now pasteurized. That means that the foods that have been produced in the factory will be heated to an incredibly high temperature to kill off the potential bad bacteria, but in the process, the good bacteria is also killed off. And this is done to prolong shelf life so that there is no risk of bad bacteria being in the food that we consume. But that doesn't mean that consuming all these foods that I listed before now is deemed useless. They are still healthy foods, and even dead good bacteria or dead probiotics can have a positive effect on our immune system. Our immune system does recognize that there are good bacteria that landed in our guts, regardless of whether they're alive or dead, and that can be beneficial to your immune system. Of course, you can also take probiotic supplements. That is a great option if you want to make sure to consume live probiotic. Now, the goal with probiotics is to have the good bacteria get into your gut, kind of move in, settle down, and multiply itself, really become at home in your gut. But that is actually a rather difficult process, since the bacteria will have to fight for a space in your gut. But that also doesn't mean that a live probiotic passing through your gut does not do any good. It still does good. Now, there are lots of different types of probiotics, so really depending on what your goal is, what your needs are when it comes to good bacteria, you might want to supplement with different types of probiotics. Now, for this, it is best to consult a medical expert on your needs and what will be best for you. Now, the best research family of bacteria is the bifidobacteria and the lactobacillus. A lot of times it might even be a combination of different types of bacteria, which is an even bigger plus for our health, since, as I said, different types of probiotics have different types of strengths. What is important when it comes to probiotic supplements or probiotics is to take them consecutively for 4 weeks. This way you make sure that you get the most and best effect from the probiotics in your gut. I, for example, like to take a month worth of probiotic once or twice a year, kind of as a little boost for my gut. But you can also take them all year long. That is totally up to you. So now we know that probiotics are good bacteria that we actually want in our gut. But it's not only about taking probiotics. It's like getting a cat and then not caring for it. Once you get a cat, you have to take care of it and feed it. And that's the same with the probiotics that we now have in our gut. So that is actually really important, is to feed and strengthen the good bacteria in our gut. Now, whether you decide to take extra good bacteria like probiotics or not, we mostly all already have good bacteria in our gut, so you can decide not to take probiotics and instead just to strengthen the good bacteria that is already in your gut. Before we continue on and talk about how to take care of and feed our probiotics, I want to quickly mention Patreon. If you love my videos and you love what I do and you want to support me in being able to make more videos for you guys, then be sure to check out Patreon. As a thank you, I have a bunch of exclusive videos where you can get to know me more personally. If you're interested, the link is down below. So the question is, how do we do that? How do we feed our good bacteria and strengthen and help them multiply? So we do this by feeding them with something called prebiotics. Prebiotics feed the good bacteria and, as I said, helps them strengthen and be more powerful than the bad bacteria. Now, prebiotics are a little easier to find in foods. These are mostly prevalent in fiber-rich foods such as artichokes, asparagus, banana, garlic, onion, leek, whole grain wheat, but also rye and lentils, but there's so much more. What is also considered a prebiotic is digestion-resistant starch, and that we have in things like cooked potato or cooked rice that has then cooled, because once it cools, the starch crystallizes, and that can then more easily go all the way down to your gut to the bacteria, which they really enjoy. Now, as I said, depending on what kind of microbiome you have in you, everyone is very different. Your bacteria tends to like different types of prebiotics. You might have to try around. Some people feel like cold potato, like a potato salad, is really beneficial for their gut. There's no real test you can do. It is more like, with what foods do you kind of feel better? If you're someone that typically does not eat a fiber-rich diet, research has suggested maybe to ease into a more fiber nutrition diet, since plunging head in can sometimes result in you being quite gassy, since your good bacteria might be totally overwhelmed with all the fiber that it now gets to enjoy. So maybe try to ease into it slowly. So now we've learned that a healthy gut is good for your health overall, and we know what makes a healthy gut. A nice balance of probiotics that can be taken through supplements or sometimes through fermented foods. And we also now know that it's important to feed our good bacteria, our probiotics, and that we do with prebiotics. Prebiotics can either be taken through supplements, again, as capsules, or you can find them in fiber-rich foods. So now that we know how to take care of our gut, but there are also a bunch of other things that can influence our gut health, things like sleep and exercise. So our body is really a complex system that we need to try to take care of every single day. If you made it this far, you can be proud of yourself. That was a lot of information. Hopefully it was interesting and you learned something new. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. That lets me know that you liked this video. And hopefully you didn't get too overwhelmed with all this information. Comment down below if you now want to better take care of your gut. I certainly want to jump back into being more aware of taking care of my gut and my bacterias in there, kind of like little house pets. I don't know if that is weird to think of it that way. Gut health is really something that fascinates me, and hopefully you find it interesting as well. If you like my videos and like to see more, be sure to check out my channel. I do more videos on mental health, but also physical health. I have recipes, but then I also talk about minimalism and sometimes self-help and books, and I just have a lot of fun different videos for you to consume. So be sure to check out my channel and subscribe if you enjoy my videos and like to see more. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.